Good morning, bon dia, bon dia.
Good morning to my night owls. Good afternoon to the early birds.
Nice,
Hope-
nice.
Hope you had a nice week.
Yes, sir. Let's do the introduction. My name is Bruce Harms. I'm a content professional, digital marketing consultant, and overall Cardano advocate. And we're going to talk a little bit today about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Jean-Luc?
As previously mentioned, I am Jean-Luc. I am the son of Bruce Arms. I have been a tech enthusiast my entire life
Right.
and a current student at the University of Aruba.
Yeah, so we want to welcome all the listeners. Welcome again to our show. Tech Impact is a show that we do in English, and we just finished our first 4-show rotation. And in the next 4-show rotation, we will be starting to promote in the whole Caribbean region to our friends in the Blockchain Alliance. And so thank you, everybody, for the support, and we hope to continue speaking and sharing with you our ideas with blockchain. So in that spirit, Jean-Luc, did you know that today is Crypto Pizza Day?
No.
What does that even mean? Right? So from my friends in the Blockchain Alliance in the Caribbean, they shared with me this news. And basically, 11 years ago, a man called Laszlo Hanyecz bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. That was the first recorded, let's say, purchase transaction towards real goods.
Wow.
11 years ago.
10,000 Bitcoin.
10,000 Bitcoin. And let me just check for you how much that would be worth today. Those pizzas are worth, for that purchase price, $400 million.
$400 million.
Yeah,
Papa
amazing.
John pizzas.
Well, of course, you can't just go get that, right? If you
No.
would have it, but basically, we're talking about what 10,000 bitcoins would be worth, even in this crash.
Yes,
Right?
yes. For those who are keeping track of cryptocurrency and the values of the coins are aware of the recent crypto market crash,
Dip, crash.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So let me just pull up some statistics. I'm using my wallet Exodus, and that's the amazing thing about it. So guys, if you're interested in learning about Bitcoin and having a wallet, download Exodus at exodus.io.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. So I'm taking a look at the chart for the last 6 months. And obviously, in May 14th, all the way to, March, April, we were at 60,000. And remember, we were talking about that show that, some people would like to invest, and there's speculation of Bitcoin going to 100,000 this year, right?
Yes,
and now,
yes.
wham, it happens, And
Where the dip?
it happens. And on the 10th of May, we dropped to 55, Bitcoin dropped to 55. And on the 21st, it went all the way down to 38,000. So I would imagine, if somebody thought after being told, hey, we're going to go to 100,000, let me put in $15,000. And how would you feel if you put $15,000 into Bitcoin right now?
So there are 2 ways you can look at it, right?
Right.
We have Bitcoin has existed for 10 years.
Right,
And so we have
right.
10 years worth of data to look at, right? Concerning its ups and downs, its dips and increases. And for anybody who would be new and who has no experience with these dips and the very important term called hodling,
Right.
would be, of course, panicking.
Yes.
Panicking.
Yes.
But there have been more extreme crashes in the past.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you were to look over the entire lifetime of Bitcoin, we have still increased a lot more, and we haven't crashed that much compared to in the past.
So what you're saying is that, guys, don't panic, relax.
Buy the
You
dip.
know, I totally agree with that. I think there's a lot going on. There's also this, strange relationship between news and, consumer news and how consumers click on things.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't be, if you bought Bitcoin for a lot of money, relax. It's gonna adjust itself. We've gone through worse things, and if I'm gonna quote our good friend Charles Hoskinson, which is the founder of Cardano, we're in a frontier. It's a new frontier. It's a frontier market. It's super volatile.
Yes, yes.
So again, interestingly, in contrast, Cardano did very well. So let me just add some statistics. So what you just said if I look at 2020, 10th of June, we were at $9,200 as in the Bitcoin value. And if you look at the chart for a year, it steadily went up till the $40,000 range. And now it's fluctuating at this plateau of 40, right? So it goes up to 50 and 60 and comes back down. It's just that it's the only cryptocurrency on the planet that is fluctuating in thousands of dollars.
Yes, correct.
So to our listeners, our opinion is don't take it too seriously, and it's not the end of things. It's just one of those bullish and bearish markets. Those are stock market terms.
But what does that mean?
Bullish and bearish?
Yes.
I've learned that when it's a bull market, it's on the rise, and when it's bearish, it's on the drop. What that exactly means, that goes beyond my expertise and knowledge. But when people speculate with stock market shares and whatnot, it's about riding the bullish trends and to time your in and outing. So time your investment and time your liquidation of assets.
But
so
that's stock.
it comes from the stock market, but
stuff.
because Bitcoin value basically runs on exchanges, right? So an exchange is a place where you can buy and sell, and that's the dynamic. And personally, I am not so interested in that, except for what does that mean for adoption? Why is this going on? And let's answer that question. Let's segue into China. So do you know why this crash supposedly happened?
I have
Or
actually
it's indicators. It's
not really. No, I've been just like our friend John said on the Thursday podcast. For anybody who was listening, thank you.
Yeah, Soppy Mix.
Soppy Mix. To roughly translate it to buy and forget, hodl.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
just
Let's go back to that. I'm sorry. Hodl. Isn't that like a funny play on letters on hold?
It is. It is.
So
And
what does hodl mean?
It very simply put, it's just to not panic sell your investments. It is a term that the Bitcoin community coined many years ago in the forums when they were trying to convince themselves to just keep holding.
That was very
hodling.
funny. Coined.
Oh wow, pun not intended. Pun not intended.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna actually get to that term back. So I've pulled up Yahoo News, and I trust that platform for good quality news. And here we're talking about it's sourced. Excuse me. It's sourced from The Independent. Bitcoin price plunges as China threatens to crack down on crypto. Right. So. Of course, we're going to talk now about regulation, right? So this
Politics.
No.
Okay.
Well, it is politics, of course, but regulation is a more powerful kind of enforcer, regulatory. They have actually power. They can do things to markets and to consumers and businesses and whatnot.
So what did China do?
Yeah, so I'm tracking down the article, and their regulatory organization has indicated, I think it's called, so here I see Hong Kong's Financial Services and Treasury Bureau has been consulting on the market and they're starting to promote that they don't endorse things that are not real. So for them right now, they're communicating that cryptocurrency is something that is not real. And what do you think of that? You know, saying something is not real, as in that Bitcoin is a digital zeros and ones. So we shouldn't be investing into that and letting it enter
It's like saying an MMORPG, a online community game, is not real.
Wow, that's a great comparison. It isn't real, but people are experiencing real things.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So they're experiencing real engagements. They're having conversations with people, interactions. So that's a funny thing. What's an interaction, right? Is that not real, right? So I think that's a great way to put it. I think also that what's interesting, I did not know this until, or I didn't realize this until today. So from Cardano, IOHK, which is Input Output Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah.
Right, is the business where that's Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, ADA. That's his company, and which means he's, you know, that headquartered in Hong Kong.
But I'm not well versed, nor is it the space. But if I remember correctly, Hong Kong is not directly under
Let me check that for a second.
China.
Really bad of us,
right?
huh?
Yes.
I think it's
I
its own,
apologize to you listeners. This is something I do not keep up
yes,
with
me
usually.
too. Me too. It's kind of embarrassing, but we've got the internet for that, and it's good that you point that out. It's Hong Kong is a sovereign state in China. Sovereign state. So, what does this mean for Cardano? I'm not so sure. I don't think it means much because Cardano has, you know, kind of penetrated many different other countries right now, and we talked last week about the work they're doing in Ethiopia with millions of students. So let me point that out, that in this, let's call it bearish market, where also Ethereum lost a lot of value. I think it was in a 25% range, where it went from 4,000 all the way down to 2,200. Cardano actually went up and retained, and now is still fluctuating over about $1 and I think it was 40 cents. So right now it's 150.
Nice.
And this is where I can definitely say that Charles can declare, I told you so.
Yeah.
Where his focus is on adoption and great applications. And, you know, they've just released $250 million for people to develop on their ecosystem.
Wow.
Yeah, through IOHK, Project Catalyst. So that's very interesting. I love that we're learning by these trends, and we're going to a direction where people are going to find out more why these things work and why they don't work.
Yes.
And an interesting thing is, what do you think about what's going to happen to Ethereum?
I heard that they are trying to change from proof of work to proof of stake.
Right.
They've been working on that for a few years now.
Yeah.
Due to the crash and due to other reasons, it is currently very difficult to use Ethereum due to gas fees.
Right.
And for those who don't know, gas fees is basically a small fee that you have to pay to make the transaction go through.
Exactly.
It is incentive for the miners, and it is basically gas. It fuels the network, right?
Right.
But due to the high value of Ethereum and the massive usage, even what would be considered a small fraction of Ethereum, like a cent of Ethereum, is $30 to make a transaction.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the problem. So, have you ever paid a gas fee?
Yes.
And for what?
To just send from one wallet that I own to the other.
Exactly. Right. So, and why would you want to do that? So you have two wallets, and you have some Ethereum on one wallet, and you want to send it around. Why would you want to do that?
So usually the wallets are tied to smart contracts or just dApps.
Right. Right.
They give access to other things that I wanted to experiment with and experience.
So again, let's break that down for everybody that's listening and is wanting to learn. So a DApp, why the D in an app? A decentralized app?
I think it's a decentralized app. Yeah.
Right.
I never bothered to actually look it up.
No, we can freely talk about it here on our show.
Yes. Yes.
Well, let me just try and frame it a bit more. So one DApp could be, example, a marketplace where you want to buy something, right? So
An exchange.
You want to buy it on an exchange, and
Yeah.
and it's in its system. They've decided to work, for example, with MetaMask. MetaMask, guys, is one of the highly adopted online wallet. Do you consider it safe?
I do consider it safe, actually. Yeah.
Okay,
It
me
is-
too. Me too.
It's just on your browser, but it gives you your recovery code.
Yeah.
And it is easy to use, but also seems very secure because sometimes it is very annoying to work with, but that is usually a sign of good security standards.
Yeah, so let me break that down. So for me, my MetaMask is not where I hold most of my cryptocurrencies. I hold that somewhere else. But then when I need to do a transaction and I want to invest into something, then I send it from my wallet that holds my crypto, and I move it to a place where I'm going to do transaction with. So that's what you're talking about, right? So that's when
it can be considered a hot wallet.
A hot wallet.
Hot wallet. Yeah.
Teach me. I did not know that.
So there's terms called cold wallets and hot wallets.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned something. I have to write that down.
And basically, cold wallets is where you hold your coins.
Cool.
There's no activity. You send your cryptocurrency there,
Yeah.
and you keep it there. Hot wallets are the active ones. This is where you constantly receive, where you send. You use it for smart contracts, for applications. It's where it's where you don't hold it. It's where you just use it to have the transactions and use technology and experience and experiment.
So one could be considered a spaarrekening, right?
In Dutch, yeah.
In Dutch, a savings account, and then the other one would be your account. It's where your history and transactions happen.
Your
groceries
spending account, yeah.
Right, yeah. Cool. I did not know that. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. I've got right here some more news. I wanted to talk about Charles. So
What
Charles,
about him?
yeah. So Charles Hoskinson. This is a news piece from the Daily Hodl, which is a website dedicated to crypto news.
Hodl.
And he recently turned into a billionaire.
Wow.
Which is strange, right? How is he a billionaire? How could that even happen? Well, I think because it is a business, cryptocurrency is business. And in its article, he discusses that the bloodbath of this crash, a lot of people have, lost a lot of money, right? But he's been through this many times before. Anybody in this crypto space, participating in the ecosystem, creating projects to execute. He talked about becoming a millionaire about 4 years ago. And he is a co-founder of Ethereum. Did you know he gave all his Ethereum away to his secretary?
No.
Yeah, so that's one of the legendary stories.
Wow.
That he saw all the issues in Ethereum and wanted to solve these issues on his own platform, and he created Cardano. And he gave all his Ethereum to his secretary because she had worked for months unpaid.
Wow.
And this was done in 2017, just about.
If
So
she
you
kept
can only
some of it.
imagine how much that would be worth today. And currently in the article, he has stated that he owns 0 Ethereum.
Wow.
And actually, there's a bunch of articles out there that are looking into their crystal ball, as they say, that Cardano is scheduled to go past Ethereum in value.
How so?
Well, the argument is, we talked about the gas fees, right? And the problem of gas fees is that it stops adoption.
Yes.
Right? It's where a platform gets created, people get excited, and then when they start their user experience, they realize, oh man, I want to try something new,
But it's so expensive.
but it's
to
$20,
use.
$30, $40 for me to attempt to buy something like a
Mm-hmm.
digital art or maybe access to a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a little too much, I think, right now in this landscape, and especially post-COVID, right?
Yeah.
And whereas Cardano ecosystem can offer platforms like that, much lower fees and easier adoption and great security. So I think when you start looking at it from a helicopter view, Cardano seems to be a better option in this new generation of cryptocurrency. So again, let's talk about it. So Bitcoin is generation 1.
Yes. Yes.
So right now it's just about value and speculation. It's a great experiment, like we talked about at SoppyMix. And Ethereum would be considered generation 2,
Yes.
where there's a layer on top. And now we're going to go generation 3. What do you think that means?
From what I understand, while the Generation 2 focused on utility and what you can do with blockchain and the related technology, Generation 3 is focusing on basically adoption.
Yeah.
Making it easy to use, making it cheaper to use, more efficient, and also making it easier to use in the sense of interoperability. So
Yes.
having different blockchains work together or work with each other, because currently a lot of currencies, a lot of blockchains are completely isolated, completely alone, and they do not interact or communicate with each other.
Okay.
And from what I know with Cardano and ADA, is that they are currently working on a Ethereum converter where you can have an Ethereum coin, and then
Okay.
you would be able to use that on the Cardano network.
Wow. Wow. That's very interesting. I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen pretty quickly. I wanted to share something with you. We'll be talking about that a little more in depth on the next show. Is that at the e-commerce webinar, Economische Zaken here on Aruba, together with my good friend Sharon Meyer, we've invited someone that has started a agricultural project on blockchain.
Wow.
And it's called AgriLedger.
AgriLedger?
AgriLedger, yes.
Nice.
And it's in the Caribbean. And they're going to be solving lots of issues using blockchain, but I think mostly it's about creating the right kind of data sets. And I think also, I guess the term would be called chain of custody, right? So they're creating a system where it's about efficiency and where does everything go and where does everything come from, and starting using modern data visualization, I guess data sciences. But let me just say that he's going to be here he's not going to be here on Aruba, but he will be part of the webinar, and he'll be explaining how he's integrated blockchain technology in a new agricultural system in the Caribbean.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I don't know on which ecosystem it is, but it's something to be excited about. I have personal contact with him. His name is Hallam Hope. Just like us, we're from the sunny Caribbean. I think it's great to know that. I think in general, the Caribbean region is of the same spirit. We share the same ocean.
Yeah.
We kind of have the same beaches, the same flora and fauna and bird life, and I think I do want us from the Caribbean to be a little more together,
To unify a little bit more.
Well, we do that, but I think in a borderless economy, it's going to be a little more achievable. So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're not there yet, but I think blockchain does that. So cryptocurrencies in general are community led.
Yes,
So
definitely.
it's if you think about, let's talk about a couple of the other alternative coins, right? So we're always talking about Ethereum and Cardano, and maybe we should mention a little bit about Polkadot, which sort of comes from the same thinking.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, for example, XRP. I actually bought that a long time ago in my naivety. and that is solely owned by a company, right? Do you know anything about XRP?
The only thing that I know about XRP is that the company who runs and made it is under investigation by the
Yeah.
by the feds, I think.
And I don't remember if it was the feds or not, but there is a court case happening with them, and so their price is fluctuating. But
Bad juju.
bad juju,
Bad
right?
juju,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I own some of it, because I was kind of falling for the trap that they could provide transaction technologies to governments, right?
Yeah.
And if you think government, you think, well, that's going to be massive, and I think I'm moving away from that kind of thinking and thinking more like top down. If like in Paraguay, for example, that was going to be my next thing. What do you think about? Because we're talking about China a lot. I think China is big news. They're, the first, second biggest power on the planet.
They're up there.
Depends who you ask.
They're up there, yeah.
They're up there, and but let's talk about South America.
Oh yeah.
Right. So in our last show, we heard some crazy stories about blockchain in South America, in Venezuela.
Yeah.
So what was that crypto called from Venezuela? Petro.
Petro.
So that's a pegged coin, right?
Yes.
And it's pegged to what?
The price of petrol.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oil.
So just for our listeners to know, there's also pegged coins. For example, USDT is a coin that's pegged to the value of the dollar, and it has its utility is for people to use it to speculate on markets and pass it over to USDT, I think. Right?
My experience is that that is basically you buy USDT with USD dollars, and then you can buy that. That's basically the crypto equivalent of dollar. You can trade with it on exchanges at least.
Yeah. But what I wanted to note, one of the countries that I have my eye on is Paraguay.
How come?
It seems they are preparing to start regulating cryptocurrency, and I kind of wanna bounce ideas with you. As again, disclaimer: we are adopters, content creators, and enthusiasts.
Not
but
professionals.
We are professionals in certain things, but definitely not in policy making and regulations and big financial institutions and macroeconomics. But I do believe that if regulation comes, it could be positive. Depends how it happens.
It could be, yeah. Definitely.
So, what do you think about maybe let's say you and me have a little school, and we do workshops, and it's a business, but it's also beneficial to the community, and then we decide to create a crowd sponsoring in the crypto space, and we get, for example, 10 Bitcoins, so we can build our own school. Wouldn't it be cool if we could take those Bitcoins and use them in the framework of the island, and go to the notary and use that and as an asset
in the infrastructure of the island.
Yeah, and what I mean with that is, I would love to be taxed.
Yeah.
Right. So tax it. Tax it like anything else, like any other currency, right? Except for it's outside of the banks, but straight with, for example, the notaris or CIETA. I don't know how to do that, and that's why we're working with.
It's all accounts, and all it would take to send it is the notaris has a wallet that a lot of people have access to.
But do you think if we start, let's say, let's paint a rosy picture for us here on Aruba or the Caribbean, that the central banks start, with a CDBC, a central bank digital currency, and which kind of opens for ecosystems to come in and solve a lot of issues, like a Cardano ecosystem or a Polkadot or Ethereum even, because that's not what Bitcoin is for, right? Bitcoin cannot help a community start adopting cryptocurrency as a way to do transactions.
Not
right?
easily.
Not
no.
easily.
No.
But do you think that if we regulate that, we lose that decentralized aspect of cryptocurrency as a model?
A little bit. Yeah, of
Little
course,
bit, right?
Of course, because to regulate is to be aware and keep track of what's going on, right?
Right.
And that requires a slight of centralization, right? But you might be able to make smart contracts that does most of it, and then some people just make sure that there's nothing fishy going on.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I love to report that I think on Aruba, a lot of stakeholders in the economy, people that participate hugely in goods and services. Everybody's looking at this rising industry, and everybody does want to somehow participate and participate safely, right?
And for the listeners who don't know, smart contracts are pretty much self-regulating programs that work on the blockchain.
Beautifully put. Thank you so much. Yes. Several. I had a conversation with someone a couple of days ago because it's a great debate, you know. And somebody told me, well, you know, regulation is there for a reason. It protects you, right? It protects you and anti-fraud. But I always kind of lean towards the direction. There's a problem with regulation as well. It's suppressing the consumer. It's suppressing access sometimes, and sometimes they over-regulate, right? I even read this article about a problem that the Caribbean is facing called de-risking, which is a banking term, where most of the banks here are, you know, they're run by bigger banks out there because you have to, you know, it's just the way it is, and I'm always scared if. The bigger banks start pulling out or over-regulate for, you know, anti-terrorist movements and money laundering. And these are one of the big issues that we face just generally, you know.
With fiat.
Yeah, for example, PayPal, which is a great innovation. It's a huge asset for small businesses all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's something really great. The fees are a bit high, but there are no subscription commitments, right? So there's no integration commitments. It's boom, you make an account, you get access, and you can get rolling and accept payments on your PayPal account. And did you know that on Aruba, we've always been on a list, sort of a blacklist, because we're so close to, I guess, the region where a lot of, you know, strange things have happened regarding.
I've noticed.
Yes,
It's so
but
annoying.
I'm happy to report that we are trying to get access to PayPal and start recognizing Aruba so small businesses can get going.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will help if blockchain becomes a little bit more interesting in general. So this crash was bad news. So we have to make sure that people understand that it's a crash, but it's not a crash. It's a dip.
It's a crash, and implies a lot of negativity and a lot of as in it's unrepairable. There's no coming back with
Exactly.
a
A crash is a crash.
But
A plane crashes and it can't go back up.
exactly,
You know?
but with the crypto market, a crash is actually part of the norm for
Right.
the past few years that we have seen. It happens, and it always bounces back. And with the 10 years that we've seen with Bitcoin, it always goes up afterwards.
In my humble opinion, a crash for Bitcoin would have meant that it went to 1 cent. You know,
Yeah.
that's a crash. But now it's just a dip, and we've stayed within this plateau of, you know, 30,000. So it's just fluctuating. Going back to smart contracts,
Tell me.
and I think well, we're going now well into 30 minutes. Let's talk about smart contracts for a second. Cardano founder, so Charles.
Charles, yeah.
Today I'm really digging deep a bit in Cardano.
Oh.
He's been discussing his roadmap, right? So, do you know a little bit about the roadmap? I don't know it by head, but I know that every time we go through these epochs, these periods where things are happening, things are released. Do you have any idea what we're doing now in the Cardano ecosystem?
I remember that the last goal that the Cardano community was trying to do was to have a fully decentralized blockchain, in the sense of all of the blocks is produced by the community and not the developers, because most of it was created by the developers.
I think that was called the Shelley.
Shelley. Okay.
It was called Shelley.
Each phase has a different name.
Yeah,
based
yeah,
on
and
a key historical figure. Right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, so Shelley, he's got heroes of his that have made a difference in the world. You know, they've brought something to the world that made us better, or made life easier or gave access to people. And so he really aligns himself to wanting to be that kind of project, that kind of, not person, I would think, but just the type of technology that's really going to help people. So he
Yes,
cares
yes.
more about, a person that lives in Ethiopia that can get education and give him access to financial services than, like he would say, and that's why he gets a lot of criticism, the basement gamer in somewhere in a city, that complains about its value and he invested, $100 on it. He cares
Yeah.
more about the person that really, really needs it. And, fortunately, so do I, and going back on what you talked about in Shelley, that was when in mid 2020 they achieved the decentralization of the network consensus
Yeah.
is the official language, I guess. But what's interesting is that we're gonna now go into the Alonzo hard fork. Have you
Oh.
ever heard of that? A fork?
Okay, so a fork.
Yeah. Can you explain? You,
It's
you always surprise me with these tidbits of definitions. Go ahead.
So a fork is something very unique and interesting about cryptocurrency in general,
Yeah.
right? And Bitcoin has forked many times already.
Is that Bitcoin Cash? BCH?
Yes, Bitcoin Cash is
Right.
a fork of Bitcoin. So what this means is that, for those who have listened to the other ones, the blockchain is basically a ledger, right? A history of all the transactions,
Right.
with a lot of more cryptography integrated with it and rules. And
Yeah,
and
it's
for the
just
most
rules.
and for the most part, that stays unchanged. But there is a way to update, let's say, the ledger and the rules that it goes by.
Right.
And that update is actually a fork.
Okay.
And
But I imagine when you say fork, right? There's this the blockchain is
Yeah.
a series of blocks,
you have a line,
then you have a
then
line.
it splits.
and then it splits.
Yes.
Because that split could be one continues with a certain rule sets, and there's a new set of rules.
Yes.
Right. So that would be considered a fork.
It has happened with Ethereum as well.
Yeah.
And to remind people, the blockchain only exists if people continue working on it, continue
Creating.
maintaining and creating the
Right.
blockchain. And so there will always be people who prefer the old version, and there will always be people who will support the new one. The
Right.
forks.
Right. Interesting.
And so that is how Bitcoin still exists, but it is also how Bitcoin Cash is also still being maintained. The people are mining on Bitcoin Cash, the people are mining for Ethereum, and the people are mining for Ethereum Classic, which is a fork.
Yes.
And this is usually a way to allow for updates to the blockchain if it becomes too outdated for whatever reason.
Since you're talking about the Bitcoin Cash, let me take a quick look at in my Exodus if I can find. Oh, I have it right here. I have a little bit of Bitcoin Cash. I have
Oh,
very, very little bit of Bitcoin Cash, but let me look at its value at the moment. And right now it's at, where is it? Bitcoin Cash, where are you? We are at $646.
wow, it increased.
The last time I saw it, because I have it and I don't care, I think it was at $99 or $200, something
Really?
like that. Yeah.
Last time I saw it was like 500.
Yeah, and right now it's 646. I think it actually went down. I think it went all the way up until 1,000. Interesting. And that would be a fork.
Yes.
And do you remember when that happened? Probably not.
No,
Maybe
long time ago.
8 years ago.
But basically, it's still technically the same network, right?
Right.
It's still
right.
the Bitcoin network, except for a small yet significant deviation. So what I'm assuming with the Cardano is that the Alonzo fork is they will make a different Cardano ADA blockchain
Yes.
with a small significant difference that's going to set it apart.
And that setting apart is when you talked about smart contracts. And I'm gonna read it out loud here. Charles Hoskinson, Cardano conducted a 4-year research and development effort to come up with the ideal programming model for smart contracts. What is exciting is that the Alonzo is actually where we are turning all of that on. Okay, so this is where all the ideas, all the creativity, all the utility that is not going to come from Cardano or IOHK. It's going to come from people that are going to use the blockchain, the ledger, and the smart contract technology to make things, to make dApps, right?
Wow.
And just so people know, now we remember, about 10 years ago, everybody wanted to have an app.
Yes.
Everybody, I used to have a small store, and we used to, accept people in to create websites and create applications for iOS and Android, right? And everybody they didn't want a website, they wanted an app.
An app.
Yeah, we've
App Store, Play Store.
App Store, and that's what dApps are. It's the same thing. It's just that an app goes into the Apple ecosystem or the Android ecosystem, where from the Play Store and the iTunes Store you can download, a translator, a running app, And what's interesting is that Cardano now is going to release its smart contract technology. I think it's called Plutus.
Yes.
And just to explain a bit more, why is this so interesting from them? Why will people have confidence to enter this space, to start using this smart contract? Well, I'll tell you. Charles has designed it in a way to attract people that already have a lot of programming experiences, right? How many people do you think in the world make websites and make apps as their job,
a good amount.
A good amount, right?
Yeah.
We can go a bit further. What are the programming technologies out there that are highly adopted because they're successful, they work?
There's Python, there's C++, JavaScript.
Exactly. So
there's a lot.
Just so everybody knows, it's a language. It's a language that enables somebody to be creative with and create solutions and experiences, pretty much, right?
It's how you talk to the computer and tell it to do something.
And what I love about Cardano, and that's why I believe in it, is that he specifically, as a programmer himself, made sure that the smart contract language that he's created, I think it's going to be on Plutus. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. People that have used, for example, JavaScript for many years will be easily using. It will be very familiar for people in that space.
I've also heard that it might not be Plutus, but a programming environment.
Yes.
That he is going to try to design it so that it is easy for...
Excuse me, I got it. It's Haskell.
Haskell.
Yes.
Haskell is the programming language.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Plutus must be the environment.
I think it's where it becomes a bit easier, So it's a functional environment, right? So sort of like a gamer studio.
Yes. Yeah. As I was saying, if I remember correctly, Plutus is going to be the gamer studio, the environment that will make it easy for a person with no programming experience to be able to create a smart contract and then set it active.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
For the lawmakers, for the business people, for the teachers.
Well, that's a bit far, maybe, but you're right. It is a place where his strategy is basically get as much people to start working creatively with this system, basically, in short. So
now I can see why they are now announcing that the Ethereum token transfer system is going live now, because Ethereum currently has basically the monopoly on smart contracts on the cryptosphere.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why it's we're going to enter new waters in the crypto space. Yeah, so I'm still very excited. Let's start finishing off the show. I want to thank everybody for listening. We had a very interesting discussion. You surprised me today again with some great definitions there, Jean-Luc. Good job. Let's move a little bit to promote Soppy Mix Tuesdays. Let's give thanks to my good friend Jeff. He's our producer. Every
Producer.
Saturday comes in here. He feels a bit sick, so thank you for that, Jeff, for making the show happen again.
Vaccinated squad. He got vaccinated.
I want to give a shout out to all the team, the new team members on the Soppy Mix family. It's feeling really good. I think the community is excited about this platform as a place of communication, direct
Yes.
communication.
Yes.
So yeah, so why don't you go ahead and tell the audience about the shows?
The later today we're going to have Raw at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Nice.
We're Jaluna.
7 o'clock.
Oh,
7
7 o'clock. My bad.
Thank you for the
producer.
correction.
Thank you for producer. Jaluna, nós tem Política tá cruel
Politica to Cruel.
com Evelyn Cruz
Oh yeah, baby! I can't wait to see that one.
at 8.
Yeah.
And we have a new show on Monday.
Really?
Yeah. Sincerely Carolina at 6:30, so a little bit earlier.
So we got 2 shows on Monday.
Yes, we have 2 shows on Monday right now.
It's back to back.
Politica tá cruel at 8. Sincerely Carolina at 6:30. 6:30. Já março nós tem Florin Talk.
Florin talk.
Florin
Talk.
Florin Talk. I'm going in between.
It's cool. You got it.
6 horas.
Seis
À
horas.
tarde.
Mhm.
Nós tem Ejecutar.
Right.
Ejecutar.
Ejecutar.
Or Ejecutar.
No, en bueno español.
Okay. At 7, we also have Unfuckwithable.
Nice.
At 9, it does not get easier to say that.
No, you said it perfectly.
Those are all on Jamars. So we
Right.
have 3,
3.
right? Producer? Okay, thank you.
Keep going. We're only on Tuesday.
We're only on Tuesday. Yeah. Jarasong, nós tem Pillow Talk
Yes.
at 8 as well.
Shout out to Chantal.
Shout out.
We went to school together.
Ja Whips, nós tem Soppy Mix.
Yes. Sir.
Thank you for the ones for allowing us to come last week or this week, last show,
Last show. Yeah. There you go.
and that is at 7 p.m. Soppy Mix 7 p.m.
And that's all the shows?
That's all the shows. Yeah.
Super. Okay, so let's sign off, guys. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you guys next Saturday. And
Have an amazing weekend.
have an amazing weekend. Bye, guys.